Hello, everyone. We live in a world that moves fast. Deadlines chase us. Notifications buzz relentlessly. Expectations pile up, sometimes so high we forget who we are beneath them. But let me ask you something real. When was the last time you truly owned your day? Not just survived it, not just got through it. I mean, truly woke up and took charge. Because here's the truth. If you don't own the day will own you. It will run you over with emails, anxiety, distractions, and other people's priorities. And by the time you lay your head down, you'll wonder where your energy went, where you went. But you're not here to be a passenger in your own life. You're not meant to be on autopilot. You were built to lead. And every day is your stage, your arena, your battlefield. So how do you own the day? You start with intention. Before the world gets its hands on you, claim your power, set the tone, set the pace. Ask yourself, what do I want out of today? Not what others expect of you, but what you want to create, to change, to feel, to become. Then bring your whole self to the game, your hustle, your humor, your heart. Don't apologize for your ambition. Don't dim your fire. If you're too much for some people, they can step aside. You're not here to shrink, you're here to shine. And when the day throws chaos at you, and it will, you don't flinch, you pivot. You rise, because power isn't about having control over everything. It's about staying rooted when everything else is moving. Every single day begins the same way. 24 fresh hours waiting to be used, lived, owned. But what separates a day that empowers you from one that leaves you drained isn't what happens in those hours. It's how you begin them. Starting the day with intention is the difference between reacting to life and leading it. And yet, most people don't even realize how much power they have in those first moments after they wake up. Instead of stepping into the day consciously, they hit snooze, scroll through their phone, check their messages, and immediately surrender their mental space to everyone else's noise. Before their feet even touch the ground, the day has already taken control. Setting the tone with intention means waking up and asking, what do I want from today? It means creating a small space between the chaos of the world and the clarity of your own voice. That space is where direction begins. If you don't decide what matters to you in the morning, the world will decide for you. Your inbox will fill with other people's agendas. Your time will be spent chasing someone else's priorities. And without even realizing it, you'll go to bed exhausted by a day you never chose. There's power in deciding what your day is going to stand for. That power is subtle. It doesn't come with fireworks or dramatic changes. It begins with a choice, often quiet, often internal, but it is this choice that defines leaders, creators, change makers. They don't wait for the perfect moment to arrive. They make the moment mean something. They don't ask the day to be kind to them. They show up with purpose, shaping the day with clarity and conviction. This isn't about having a rigid plan. Life is too unpredictable for that. Things will go off course. People will test your patience. Surprises, both good and bad, will come your way. But when you set the tone early, you carry an internal compass. And even when the storm hits, that compass helps you navigate. Your energy isn't scattered because your focus has already been decided. You know what matters. You know what you're working toward. And that allows you to bend without breaking. Think of the most impactful people you know. The ones who walk into a room and shift the energy. The ones who handle stress with grace, who build with consistency, who inspire without trying too hard. They all have one thing in common. They live with intention. And that intention doesn't start at noon or at some meeting halfway through the day. It starts the moment they wake up. They don't let the day sneak up on them. They meet it head on. Setting your tone doesn't have to look like meditation, journaling, or a sunrise run, unless that's what fuels you. It's not about copying a routine. It's about creating rituals that are yours. Maybe it's taking 5 minutes in silence before you touch your phone. Maybe it's reading something that uplifts you. Maybe it's visualizing your goals or simply deciding one thing you want to do well today. What matters is that those first few moments belong to you, not the world. This simple shift is more transformative than people realize. When you lead your day with intention, you walk differently, you speak with more clarity. You become less reactive. You protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is, and when people around you feel that energy, they take notice, they respond differently. You become a source of direction in environments that are often chaotic or unclear. There's a myth that success comes from grinding non-stop or always being on. But true success, the kind that lasts and feels meaningful, comes from alignment, and alignment begins with intention. When your values match your actions, when your time reflects your goals, when your attitude mirrors your purpose, that's when you begin to own your life, and owning your day is the first step to that. The beautiful thing about setting the tone is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't have to feel motivated every morning. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to show up for yourself in those early moments. The rest of the day will meet you at the level you choose to rise to. It's not about controlling time. It's about honoring it. You're not just waking up. You're waking up to your power, and this is a discipline. It takes commitment to do this daily. Some mornings you'll feel off. Some mornings you'll want to go back to bed, avoid the world, stay small. That's okay. You're human. But those are the mornings that matter the most. Because that's when your intention becomes a lifeline. That's when choosing how you begin becomes an act of defiance against mediocrity. And even if the rest of the day spirals into something unpredictable, at least you'll know that you set the tone. You chose who you wanted to be in the face of the day. People often ask how to feel more confident, more grounded, more in control of their lives. It begins right here, in the quiet, often overlooked space between sleep and the rest of the world. That space is where your life is shaped. And once you learn to own that space, you begin to own your time, your energy, your future. It's not a miracle. It's a mindset. One that says, I will lead today before it leads me. And that mindset, repeated day after day, becomes the rhythm of a life fully owned. Owning the day before it owns you isn't just about managing your time, it's about claiming your power every single morning. The way you approach your day determines whether you'll spend it reacting or creating, surviving or thriving. Every morning offers you a chance to begin with purpose, and there's a profound shift that happens when you stop letting the day happen to you and start happening to it. That shift starts with setting your intention. When you define what the day means to you, even in small, simple terms, you create momentum that carries through your thoughts, actions, and decisions. It becomes easier to focus, to say no to distractions, and to say yes to the things that matter. Intention is the anchor that keeps you grounded when everything else tries to pull you in 100 different directions. Once your intention is clear, showing up fully becomes non-negotiable. This doesn't mean pretending to be perfect. It means owning who you are, your ideas, your flaws, your passion, your ambition. When you show up as your full, unapologetic self, you stop waiting for permission to take up space. You lead from within. And people respond to that. They don't follow perfection. They follow energy, presence, and conviction. When you start your day by choosing to bring your whole self into it, you remind yourself that you are not here to fit in. You are here to stand out, to make impact, and to take control of your narrative. But life isn't predictable. Owning the day doesn't mean it will always go as planned. There will be detours, setbacks, delays, and disappointments. That's the nature of life. What makes the difference is your ability to stay rooted when the ground shakes. Resilience is not about pretending nothing affects you. It's about standing strong in your purpose when things fall apart. When you have a clear reason for why you're doing what you're doing, disruptions lose their power. You learn to pivot without panic. You respond rather than react. That ability to adjust with grace is a mark of true inner power. And owning the day also means refusing to settle for what's easy. Growth doesn't come from staying comfortable. It comes from choosing the hard thing, the right thing, the necessary thing, even when it scares you. Every time you make a choice to push a little further, to be a little better, to hold yourself to a higher standard, you stretch the limits of what's possible for you. You stop waiting for confidence to arrive and start building it through action. Progress doesn't demand perfection, it demands movement, and every movement made from intention adds up. Some people think that failure is the opposite of success. It's not. Failure is part of the process. If you're not failing at something, you're not really challenging yourself. What matters is how you respond when things don't go your way. Do you give up or do you regroup and try again? Owning the day means owning your failures too, learning from them, growing through them, turning pain into fuel and rejection into redirection. It's a mindset that says, this didn't break me, it built me. Resilience isn't about staying on your feet. It's about how quickly you rise when you fall. Confidence is another piece of this equation. Real confidence isn't loud, and it's not about ego. It's quiet, steady, earned. It's built one decision at a time, by keeping promises to yourself, by showing up consistently, by doing what you said you'd do even when no one's watching. And when you start your day by setting a standard for how you want to show up, you begin building that confidence from the inside out. It doesn't rely on validation or applause. It comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. There's also something powerful in being intentional with your energy. You can't give your best to everyone and everything. Time is finite, energy is limited, and when you waste it on things that don't align with your purpose, you rob yourself of the ability to grow. Owning your day means protecting your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Choose where you show up. Choose who gets access to you. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table, and not everything needs your attention. When you focus your energy on what truly matters, your results shift and your clarity sharpens. Boundaries are a part of this ownership too. Without them, the world will pull you in every direction. People will project their urgency onto you. They'll confuse access with entitlement. You have to decide what you're available for and what you're not. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's essential. It's a declaration of your value. It's saying, I respect my time, my peace, my purpose. And once you set those lines, the right people will honor them, and the wrong ones will fade away. Another key to owning the day is presence. We spend so much time dwelling on the past or worrying about the future that we miss the power of the moment in front of us. Presence is where progress lives. It's where joy, connection, and real growth happen. When you are fully present, whether in a conversation, a project, or even a break, you operate at your highest level. You hear more, feel more, and create more. Presence isn't about doing less, it's about being fully engaged in what you are doing right now. Leadership is a byproduct of this daily ownership. You don't have to wait for a title or role to lead. Leadership starts with how you lead yourself, how you make decisions, handle challenges, and lift others as you rise. People notice consistency, they respect clarity, and when they see you own your day with discipline and authenticity, they're inspired to do the same. You become a mirror that reflects possibility back at them. Gratitude also plays a critical role. It grounds you. It reminds you of what you have, even when everything feels chaotic. Gratitude isn't about ignoring problems. It's about shifting your perspective. Starting the day with even a single moment of thankfulness can change your chemistry. It makes you more resilient, more focused, more compassionate. It brings you back to what truly matters. Finally, owning your day means owning your story. You are not a background character in your own life. You are the author, the voice, the heartbeat of your journey. Don't let circumstances write your narrative. Don't let other people's expectations hold the pen. This is your time, your life, your legacy, and it begins every morning with one simple but powerful choice: to own the day before it owns you. Bringing your full self to the day means no longer living in fragments. So many people walk through life showing only parts of who they are, editing themselves for approval, hiding their passion for fear of judgment, or toning down their ambition to make others comfortable. But when you decide to truly own your day, that changes. You stop asking, will they like me? And start asking, am I showing up as me? There is a power that comes from authenticity. Not the performative kind, but the real kind, the kind that doesn't flinch under pressure and doesn't need applause to feel worthy. When you bring your whole self, your flaws, fire, and fullness to every room you walk into, you give yourself permission to exist without apology. Bringing your full self is not about being loud, it's about being honest. It's the confidence to speak up when you have something to say. It's the courage to stand alone when the crowd moves in the other direction. It's the strength to be consistent in your values, even when the easy choice would be to compromise. And the most beautiful thing about showing up fully is that it creates space for others to do the same. Your authenticity becomes a mirror. It signals to others that they, too, can bring their truth into the light. In a world of filters, trends, and curated perfection, being real is radical, and it's unforgettable. But owning your day isn't just about who you are, it's about how you handle what comes your way. Life doesn't always reward intention with ease. In fact, the more you rise, the more resistance you'll feel. That's where staying rooted amid chaos becomes crucial. When plans unravel, people disappoint you, or everything feels like it's going off track, the greatest tool you have is inner stillness. That doesn't mean you're not affected. It means you don't let external circumstances decide your internal response. You learn to breathe through the chaos, to anchor yourself in perspective, and to hold onto your purpose like it's a lifeline. Staying rooted is a choice. It's built over time by showing up for yourself again and again, especially when it's hard. The world may tell you to panic, to quit, to spiral, but you remember why you started. You remember what you're building. Rootedness isn't weakness or denial, it's presence. It's the ability to feel the storm without becoming it. And when you live this way, you begin to respond instead of react. You take ownership of your emotions. You choose patience over panic. You adapt without losing your direction. This is what separates those who survive from those who thrive, not avoiding the chaos, but mastering themselves within it. Growth, however, is not born from stillness alone. Growth demands discomfort. If you want to own your day, you have to be willing to lean into the spaces that challenge you. Most people run from discomfort. They choose what's easy, familiar, and safe, even if it means staying stuck. But growth never happens in the comfort zone. It lives in the stretch, in the uncertainty, in the decision to try something you're not yet good at. It lives in the risks you take, the fears you face, the boundaries you break. And the only way to reach your potential is to chase growth with intention. Choosing growth over comfort is hard because it requires letting go of control. It means accepting that you might fail, look foolish, or face criticism. But those are the very moments that shape your character. Every time you choose growth, you add a layer of resilience, you expand your capacity. You become more skilled, more courageous, and more aligned with your purpose. And the best part, growth compounds. What was once uncomfortable becomes natural. What once felt impossible becomes your new normal. But none of that happens if you keep choosing what's easy. When you put these three pieces together, bringing your full self, staying rooted through the chaos, and choosing growth over comfort, you create a foundation for real ownership of your day and, by extension, your life. These aren't strategies, they're commitments. They're not about external success. They're about internal mastery, because the real goal is not just to do more, but to be more present, more grounded, more bold, the kind of person who doesn't wait for life to calm down in order to show up, but who shows up in the storm and leads anyway. It's not about being fearless. It's about showing up despite the fear. It's about telling yourself, I can handle this, even when your voice shakes. The days that test you are the days that define you. They're the days when your decision to own your energy, your mindset, and your response matters more than ever. When you start with intention, stand in authenticity, root yourself through challenges, and choose growth over safety, you take the day in your hands. You shape it instead of letting it shape you. And here's the truth. Every day you live this way, you get stronger, more centered, more clear, and over time, the way you approach your day becomes the way you live your life, on purpose, with courage, and completely your own. When you choose to fail forward and rise, you decide that failure is not a dead end but a stepping stone. Too often, people let one setback define their entire direction. They internalize failure, allowing it to write their story in doubt and fear. But those who own their day understand something different. Failure is part of success, not separate from it. It's not the opposite of winning, it's the path to it. Every mistake, every misstep, every disappointment is an opportunity to learn, sharpen your instincts, and grow stronger. You don't rise in spite of failure. You rise because of how you handle it. When something doesn't go your way, you have a choice: stay down and become smaller, or get back up with more clarity, wisdom, and resolve. Failing forward means you give yourself permission to take risks. You stop living in the fear of getting it wrong and start focusing on doing it anyway. You trust yourself enough to try. You become the kind of person who is not defined by outcomes but by courage. And when people see you stumble and rise, they respect you more, not less. Because resilience speaks louder than perfection. The real power isn't in never falling, it's in how many times you get back up. When you make failing forward your mindset, every challenge becomes fuel. Every rejection sharpens your edge. You begin to lead with boldness, knowing that even if you trip, you'll rise stronger every single time. Choosing to claim your power daily is another decision that changes everything. Power isn't something given to you. It's something you step into. It's not about titles, status, or recognition. It's about how you carry yourself, how you speak to yourself, and how you move through your life. Too many people wait for someone else to validate them before they feel allowed to shine, but those who own their day know better. They wake up every morning and decide to take control, not of everything around them, but of themselves. Their attitude, their focus, their boundaries, their voice, that's real power, self-leadership. Claiming your power is not about pretending to have it all figured out. It's about not shrinking. It's about showing up even when you're uncertain, trusting your instincts, and refusing to be passive in your own life. It's a daily choice to not give away your energy to doubt, comparison, or fear. Instead, you bring your attention back to what you can influence: your work ethic, your mindset, your voice. When you make this a daily habit, the world starts to respond differently. People listen, opportunities come. Not because you forced them, but because you've aligned with your strength. Power doesn't come from control. It comes from clarity, from knowing who you are and standing in that truth every single day. There is a deep connection between claiming your power and choosing growth over comfort. Most people want change but avoid the discomfort that growth requires. They want the result without the process. But you cannot grow if you keep protecting your comfort zone. The zone of safety might feel familiar, but it's also where dreams stagnate. The people who live extraordinary lives are the ones who decided that comfort is overrated. They lean into challenge, they seek out the hard thing, they show up even when it's unfamiliar, even when they might fail, because they know that discomfort is where transformation lives. Growth demands effort. It demands that you stretch your mind, strengthen your discipline, and make peace with being uncomfortable. It's not glamorous. Most of the time, it's gritty and humbling. But when you stop trying to avoid discomfort and instead welcome it as part of your journey, you start expanding. Your confidence grows, your skills improve, your mindset shifts from "what if I can't" to "what can I learn from this?" And that shift opens doors that fear could never unlock. Growth over comfort is a daily commitment. Not a one-time decision, but a rhythm of courage that repeats itself in every choice, every conversation, every challenge you face. Alongside all of this, staying rooted amid chaos is what keeps you aligned through the storms. Life will throw things at you that you didn't plan for. The world is full of noise, pressure, distractions, and unpredictability. But those who own their day don't let the outside world determine their inner state. They've built an anchor within themselves. They've created rituals, habits, and mental frameworks that keep them grounded no matter what is happening around them. And when things get chaotic, as they inevitably do, that rootedness becomes their advantage. Being rooted doesn't mean being rigid. It means being stable, flexible, and focused. You don't let emotions hijack your decisions. You don't chase every crisis. You don't allow the opinions of others to shake your sense of direction. Instead, you lead from a place of stillness. Even in the noise, you move with clarity. Even in pressure, you respond with purpose. This kind of inner strength isn't built overnight. It's earned over time through consistent self-awareness, reflection, and discipline. It's what allows you to navigate challenges with grace rather than panic. When you bring these four key elements together, failing forward, claiming your power, choosing growth over comfort, and staying rooted amid chaos, you begin to live each day with a sense of agency. You no longer wait for the perfect conditions. You no longer chase approval. You no longer get derailed by fear. Instead, you show up, fully, consistently, boldly. You own the moment, the hour, the decision. You stop existing on autopilot and start living with intention. That's what owning the day is really about. Knowing that whatever the world throws at you, you are ready, you are rooted, and you are rising, again and again. Being intentional with your energy is a transformative way to own the day. Your energy is your most valuable currency. You can't create more hours in the day, but you can choose how you invest your energy. Where attention goes, energy flows, and so many people give their energy away carelessly, through distractions, drama, overcommitment, and negative thought, leaving them drained, scattered, and disconnected from their purpose. But the person who owns the day knows exactly where their energy needs to go. They make conscious choices, not emotional reactions. They protect their peace because they understand that their focus, clarity, and productivity all depend on their energy management. Intentional energy starts with awareness: what energizes you, what depletes you, who adds to your spirit, and who pulls from it without giving back. When you stop and examine these questions honestly, patterns start to appear. And from there, you begin to create boundaries. You learn to say no without guilt. You prioritize rest, knowing that recovery isn't a weakness, it's wisdom. You stop glorifying busyness and start valuing effectiveness. When you make choices based on your highest priorities instead of just responding to every demand, you shift from being reactive to being powerful, and that's when your energy becomes magnetic. People feel it when you walk into a room. You're not scattered or exhausted. You're clear, focused, and present. Boundaries play a vital role in protecting your energy. Without boundaries, life will pull you in every direction, leaving you with nothing left for what matters. People don't always respect your limits unless you do. Boundaries are not about building walls. They're about creating space where you can thrive. They are not rejection. They are redirection. They say, I know my worth, and I know where I need to focus. That's a powerful stance. Because when you set clear boundaries, you not only protect your time, you elevate your standards. You teach others how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. Setting boundaries isn't easy. It requires courage, especially if you're someone who has been conditioned to please or keep the peace. But the day you decide that your peace, your focus, and your goals matter is the day everything changes. You start moving with intention. You become selective about who and what you allow into your space. You realize that every yes to something misaligned is a no to something that could move you forward. And when you begin honoring your boundaries consistently, your energy becomes more potent, more impactful. You're no longer pulled in a million directions. You move with direction. Presence is another cornerstone of owning your day. We live in a world that constantly pulls us away from the now. Notifications, worries, regrets, endless to-do lists. They all fight for our attention. But presence is where real life happens. When you are fully in the moment, you create your best work, build deeper relationships, and feel more connected to yourself and your purpose. Presence isn't about doing less, it's about being fully engaged in what you're doing. Whether you're leading a meeting, listening to a friend, writing, resting, or even walking, being present amplifies the experience and the result. The truth is, presence is rare. Most people are thinking about the next thing while they're doing the current thing. But when you train yourself to slow down and be here, right here, You reclaim your time, you take control of your attention, you begin to experience life more deeply and respond more powerfully. Presence brings clarity. It brings calm. It allows you to fully digest what's happening, which in turn allows you to make better choices. When you own your presence, you start owning your influence. People feel heard around you. Tasks get completed with focus and excellence. You become more effective not by doing more, but by being more fully in what you're already doing. Leadership is not something reserved for a job title or a stage. Real leadership starts with self-leadership. It's how you talk to yourself in the morning. It's how you decide to face adversity. It's how you show up when no one is watching. The most powerful leaders are not just those who inspire others. They are those who consistently inspire themselves. They push through when it's hard. They hold themselves accountable. They choose discipline over comfort. That's what owning your day looks like. Leading yourself with integrity, even in the smallest moments. When you take the time to lead yourself, others notice. You don't need to demand respect. It's earned through your consistency. It's seen in how you navigate challenges, how you communicate, and how you treat others. Leadership is a reflection of your internal strength. It's not about being the loudest. It's about being the most centered, the most prepared, and the most committed to growth. When you lead yourself well, you become the example, not because you're perfect, but because you're real, resilient, and intentional. You're not waiting to be chosen. You're already moving, already building, already leading. Gratitude ties everything together. It grounds you. It reminds you that even in the chaos, there is something good. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring what's wrong. It means focusing on what's right. It changes your state of mind. It keeps your heart open. It shifts you from lack to abundance, from stress to strength. When you begin your day with even the smallest reflection of gratitude, your entire perspective shifts. You stop focusing on what's missing and start seeing what's possible. And that mindset gives you fuel. It reminds you why you started, why it matters, and why you're capable. Gratitude builds resilience. When things go wrong, it gives you the ability to find light even in darkness. It doesn't erase the pain, but it gives you perspective. It reminds you that there's always something to hold on to, always something to fight for. It trains your brain to look for solutions instead of staying stuck in problems. And over time, it makes you mentally stronger, emotionally wiser, and spiritually fuller. Gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's a practice. It's a muscle that grows the more you use it. And when it becomes part of your daily rhythm, it becomes part of your identity. When you bring these 5 elements together, intentional energy, strong boundaries, present focus, leadership, and daily gratitude, you begin to take real ownership of your day. You stop letting the world dictate how you feel, act, and live. You reclaim your time, your purpose, and your power, and day by day you build a life not just of success, but of meaning, connection, and fulfillment. That's what owning the day before it owns you really means. When you wake up and decide to own your morning, you claim the tone of your entire day. It's not about being a morning person. It's about owning your start. Your morning is your launch pad. It's the space where you decide who you're going to be before the world tells you who to be. So many people roll out of bed and go straight into reaction mode, checking their phones, responding to demands, and rushing without direction. But when you slow down and create intention in those first moments, you begin with purpose instead of panic. A calm, centered morning builds a focused, powerful day. Whether it's 5 minutes of silence, movement, journaling, reading, or simply drinking your coffee without scrolling, it's your ritual. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. That kind of intentional beginning allows you to operate from alignment rather than anxiety. You start the day with yourself, not the noise. You remember your values, your goals, your vision. That grounding affects every interaction you'll have throughout the day. It sharpens your decisions and builds your confidence. It reminds you that while you can't control every circumstance, you can absolutely control how you begin. And when you start strong, you carry that momentum forward. That's the power of owning your morning. It becomes a declaration of ownership over everything that follows. As the day unfolds, you face constant input: people, problems, decisions, distractions. This is where the ability to reset becomes your superpower. It's not enough to start the day well. You need to know how to reclaim it when it starts to slip away. Resetting doesn't mean starting over, it means recalibrating. It's that moment you stop, breathe, and realign. Maybe the meeting didn't go well, or your energy dipped, or you got thrown off by something unexpected. Instead of spiraling or shutting down, you choose to pause, assess, and restart. That's what owning the day looks like. It's not about perfection, it's about agility. The people who master this don't wait for a new day to get back on track. They reset as many times as they need. They step outside, take a break, close their eyes for a moment, or reframe their thoughts. It might seem small, but the ability to reset keeps you in the game. It helps you avoid burnout, emotional spirals, and unnecessary drama. You don't lose hours to one bad moment. You learn to bounce back in minutes. That resilience builds trust in yourself. You know you can handle whatever comes because you've trained yourself to respond, not just react. In the middle of all of this, being bold about your boundaries becomes a form of self-respect. Too many people say yes to everything and everyone and then wonder why they feel exhausted and resentful. But when you set clear boundaries, you protect your most valuable asset, your energy. Boundaries are not barriers. They are invitations to healthier relationships, deeper focus, and clearer priorities. Saying no to what drains you is saying yes to what fuels you, and that boldness isn't selfish, it's strategic. Setting boundaries requires honesty. It means having tough conversations, holding firm when it's uncomfortable, and being willing to disappoint others in order to honor yourself. But the payoff is massive. You get your time back, you get your clarity back. You no longer spend your life managing other people's expectations at the expense of your own peace. And as your boundaries strengthen, so does your self-trust. You stop looking for outside permission to rest, to say no, or to change your mind. You give yourself that permission. Every time you protect your space, you reclaim your power. That power is amplified when you are deeply present. Presence is one of the most underrated forms of leadership. In a world addicted to speed, multitasking, and constant distraction, the ability to be fully here is magnetic. When you're present, you listen differently, you connect more deeply, you notice details others miss. And most importantly, you experience your own life instead of just moving through it. Presence doesn't mean you ignore the past or future. It means you don't live there, you live now. You engage with what's in front of you, whether it's a person, a task, or a quiet moment. Presence is a practice. It takes discipline to keep pulling your attention back to the now. But when you do, everything sharpens, your productivity increases, your communication improves, your relationships deepen, and your sense of purpose strengthens. When you're present, you stop reacting from habit and start responding from clarity. You no longer chase the next moment, you own the current one. With all this clarity and control, there's one more element that elevates everything: choosing joy. Joy isn't something you wait for, it's something you cultivate. It's easy to think you'll be happy when the goal is achieved or the circumstances improve, but those who truly own their day find joy in the process. They look for beauty in small things, they celebrate the progress, not just the finish line. They laugh, they savor, they create moments of lightness even in the heavy. Joy is strength. It's not about ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. It's about refusing to let negativity have the final word. It's a quiet rebellion in a world that often pushes stress and hustle. When you choose joy, you raise your frequency. You change the energy in a room. You remind yourself, and everyone around you, that success without joy isn't really success at all. And the beautiful thing about joy is that it multiplies. The more you create it, the more it grows. It spills into your work, your relationships, your presence. When you own your morning, reset with intention, protect your boundaries, live in the present, and choose joy, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you become stronger, clearer, and more connected to what matters most. This isn't about squeezing more into the day. It's about creating a life you're fully alive in, one decision at a time. So, when you choose to own your day before it owns you, you're not just managing time, you're leading yourself with purpose. You wake up with intention, protect your energy with boundaries, stay rooted in the present, and bring joy into even the most ordinary moments. You learn to reset, to redirect, to rise. This isn't about chasing perfection or hustling endlessly. It's about showing up for yourself every single day, fully and unapologetically, because your life isn't made in the big wins, it's made in the daily choices. And when you commit to those choices with clarity and courage, you don't just survive the day, you shape it. You lead it, you own it.